Well, hello there, my friends. Chris Marcus here with you for Arcadia Economics. And today I'm joined by Steve Cope of Silver Viper, who, in addition to exploring and developing their La Virginia project, also recently had a deal with Canasil Resources as they picked up some new assets. And one of the conditions of the deal was for them to do a financing, which they did just recently announce. And Steve, appreciate you making some time to join me on the show. And perhaps you could talk about the financing that was part of that deal that is currently underway and let people know what's going on there.
Yeah, pretty straightforward financing. We're doing it at 20 cents with a half warrant at 30 cents, 2 years on the warrant. Like you said, it was a condition of the financing or of the deal that we do a financing and raise at least $1 million. So we're well underway on that. The first tranche will close on December 8th. Again, it's nice to get a bit of the cash into the till through this deal. I think everyone we've spoken to about the deal is very excited about the possibilities of what we're going to be able to do, even with one or two of the assets. I mean, speaking with some of the people at your conference, it was like Nora alone is going to be worth well more than what you paid for this just on one drill program. So I think again, it was a great opportunity, and it took a really bad market to be able to get the deal done that we got done on Canasil. But you've got 10 projects plus an NSR that's included in that deal, 4 in Canada, 6 in Mexico through the prime silver belt of Mexico, in Durango State and Zacatecas State. So when you're looking at the Canasil assets, I mean, Nora and Esperanza really jump out at you. And I mean, on Nora, this is a project that they made a discovery in 2021 and haven't been able to follow up on it. When you start looking at these grades of, almost 20 meters of 750 gram silver equivalent split between gold and silver, or some of the narrower hits of like 2 meters of multi-kilogram material, and that was on a first very small pass, 3,000 plus meter program. And they haven't been able to follow up on those. And so everything's still open along strike at depth. There's lots of additional targets on that project. This is a project we followed from the very beginning because it was the asset that we wanted to list Silver Viper on originally when we did our IPO in 2017. And that asset alone could be worth, substantially more than this deal, even on just a little bit of drilling. And then never mind, the success they found in Esperanza, where you've had multi-kilogram hits with base metals, which are obviously far more in vogue right now with this green movement. You've got Salamandra, same gold, silver, base metals in elephant country, sitting around some of these massive deposits in Mexico. Esperanza looks like it could be a lookalike for Pan American's La Colorado mine, which is probably, in my opinion, the most spectacular deposit in Mexico at the moment. It's just there's all these very, very attractive assets in a country where you can't stake claims right now. You can't stake new claims. So we have, especially as metals prices move up and companies start looking for new assets and where can they get them, Mexico is always going to be the #1 spot to look for silver. And here we are with this package now of various projects that we're going to be able to capitalize on and raise capital in a non-dilutionary way, whether that's through packaging shares and cash with NSRs and then looking to vend off, a package of NSRs, which we're seeing, the premiums on early stage NSRs right now have never been higher. There's, the people are pouring in and wanting to get in on that streamer model, and they're having to go earlier and earlier to build these packages. And the big companies there can't get to the valuations that these new startup NSR companies or streaming companies are looking at. So again, I think there's an avenue there where we could package the NSR. We have the right to buy back on La Virginia with the NSR that already comes with this deal on Sandra project in Durango. And then, depending how many of these we option out and create additional NSRs on, I think, again, it's a very attractive package of NSRs we could put together. So I think there's so many options with this deal. Obviously, like I said, the share price is low right now. Again, we're taught in this, as investors to try and buy low and sell high. And I think there's a great opportunity here on this placement to get involved, build a larger position in the company, and then look to support it and go along for the ride as we start drilling and making new discoveries on their projects, as well as continuing to drill La Virginia. Like I said, El Molino South is an area we're extremely excited about, and I think there's going to be a discovery made there in the new year. And then going deep on El Ruby itself or any of the other dozen targets we have around the La Virginia project that we need to go and explore. I mean, as we get capitalized, I think it's going to be an extremely exciting year moving forward as we ramp up the exploration program, both at La Virginia and doing some, smaller programs on these new projects.
Yeah, and one of the things I appreciate that you've mentioned before is that you're an exploration company. You're not trying to do everything, take it into production. You have your core competency and what you focus on, and also that you're not going to be spread too thin. Obviously, you have a few new assets coming in the Canasil deal, but looking to potentially spin some of those out so that you can stay focused and, of course, continue what you're doing with La Virginia. And anything about the La Virginia that you would like to update as well in terms of drilling plans going forward there?
Well, I mean, I touched on it briefly, but El Molino South, as we continue to do our surface mapping and sampling that went along with the geophysics on that, it's producing some nice surface grades on rock chip samples. We're finding more and more breccia there, which is what our high grade structure is, at El Ruby on La Virginia. So I mean, we're getting higher and higher and more, ready to really excited about that. And that's a trend that sits 2 kilometers to the east of El Ruby. So again, it's when you've got this mineralized trend that can run for 100 kilometers, north south, and now all of a sudden we talk about a separate structure 2 kilometers to the east that has that potential for run for kilometers and kilometers and kilometers. It's very exciting, and it's something we want to get a drills going on and get into there and make new discoveries. And then I know I just saw some sampling from the El Oriental area of the project that we've never drilled, and it shocked us with some nice high grades in that area. Macho Libre has been producing some nice rock chip samples on the southern end of it. So we've got all these targets that as we've been able to pause drilling and have the team really focus on understanding all of these different targets and what the structures are doing and how they're coming together. It's given us an opportunity to get caught up and really identify and focus on some of these other areas of the project. That when we do get back to drilling, that's we're going to prioritize them, and I'm sure we're going to make some new discoveries.
Well, and certainly all seems to be coming at a good time. In fact, silver price up quite a bit even since the announcement of your deal with Canasil, and certainly that helps. And again, perhaps before we wrap up, can you let folks know if they have questions about any of the assets or if they would like to find out more or participate in the private placement? What is the best way to do that?
Yeah, the best email is info@silverviperminerals.com, or you can reach out and call the office line and it'll connect to whoever you want to reach out to there, but that number is 604-687-8566. All of that information is on the website www.silverviperminerals.com.
Well, Steve, I appreciate that. Again, congratulations on the deal, and it's just great to catch up with you again as you continue to move the projects forward, and we will look forward to doing this again soon.
Sounds good, Chris. Thank you.